Welcome back. I'm Dr. Pass, and in this video, I am not going to do a recap of The Power of Ted by David Emerald, as I did with the ABC of Truth by Brown Landon. Instead, I want to share with you how the two books are perfect companions to one another. The first element to creating the life you want, according to Brown Landon, in ABC of Truth, is to know who you are, to know you are able to create. In fact, to know only you do the creating in your own life. But to know that, you must understand how much time you have spent feeling at the mercy of other things and people. That's where the power of Ted comes in. So admit it, you have spent plenty of time in your life feeling like a victim. Or, if you don't like that terminology, at least feeling like people are trying to get you to feel like a victim. We've all felt that way countless times. Fortunately for us, David Emerald, the creative teacher and author, has come along to help us begin to understand that while we may have felt like victims a lot in life, there is an alternative option. We can become a creator. Brown Landon says we must know I am I. Or, in other words, we must know we are creators. Before we delve into this whole creator side of things, let's talk a bit more about what victimhood really is. David Emerald tells us it is the death of a dream. Everyone who has spent a decent amount of time on this earth will have experienced the death of a dream. It can be a big or little dream. We wanted to go to the park with our friends, and our parent told us no. After some pleading, maybe a tantrum or two, when the answer was still no, we felt the devastating blow of the death of a dream. As adults, it might have taken on a different flavor. Our partner didn't want to see the same movie, didn't want to go out to eat, or buy us that yellow Jaguar to celebrate it being Thursday. So after some pleading, cajoling, or maybe a tantrum or two, yet more dreams died. For most of us, by the time we are adults, we are really good at being victims. Life throws curveballs all the time, and there are plenty of persecutors and persecuting situations that simply aren't fair. As David Emerald shared, victimhood becomes our identity. If we really want to utilize the 7 key elements to creation that Brown Landon taught, we have got to figure out how to get out of identifying ourselves as victims. David Emerald points out that victimhood and persecution are symbiotic. He shows us that we cannot have one without the other. So the moment we stop identifying as the victim, the persecutor or persecuting situation can no longer persecute us. That's not to say they will simply disappear, but they do lose their power. Most of us aren't going to magically give up feelings of being victimized. If someone keys your car while you are in the store shopping, the response of most people will be to feel violated, victimized, and probably a bit angry. If the same person shows up while you are looking at the car and attempts to punch you in the nose, you're going to respond in one of 3 ways: fight, flight, or freeze. We are biologically conditioned this way because it helped us survive for centuries, and that's what makes feeling like a victim so instinctual. Wild Willie of Wild Willie's World of Wisdom, which I will link in the description, did a video that talks about this very thing. In it, he explained that finding ourselves in fight, flight, or freeze mode essentially freezes the ability of our brain to reach beyond the lower brain and make neural connections in higher regions. That means that as long as we are focused in on being a victim, we do not even have the capability of considering being a creator. So this whole thing is a process and requires small steps of change. And as David Emerald points out, the more times we have a situation occur, the worse we will react to it each time. our sense of victimization grows and intensifies, and the belief that there's something outside ourselves to battle becomes more concrete. This is why we must come to know who we are and approach things from a creator framework, or, as Brown Landon puts it, as the ray of God ever shining outward. When we find that sense of being a creator, David Emerald says it carries with it the singing of the heart. Brown Landon calls this our radiation. Our heart responds with joy, and if we can get even a moment of feeling that joy, we can begin to shift our reality. David Emerald suggests that being in creator mode is having a focus on what we most want to see in life. It is choosing that which you desire to create. Brown Landon says we must take that focus a step further. He says we cannot simply think about creating a chair, because simply thinking about it produces just that, a thought. It takes action. So we must put our focus on what we want in order to be able to get out of what David Emerald calls the dreaded drama triangle. And the only way we're going to do any of it is to realize that at our core, we are creators. Victimhood is only good for survival. After that, it's time we take charge. My thanks to David Emerald for teaching that so beautifully complements the teaching of Brown Landon. I also want to direct you to David Emerald's wife's book, which is listed in the description of each of these videos, as it continues this conversation so beautifully. It will give you more concrete examples. You'll get to see the inside view of someone who uses this and teaches these techniques. In my last commentary, I wished you all happy creating. Now I send you off with wishes for conscious creating that is beyond survival mode. And while you know I would love it if you hit like and subscribe, today I want to make one more request. Please leave a comment and tell me how learning about TED and seeing its connection to ABC of Truth has changed the way you approach the challenges in your own life. Your experience teaches all of us, so please teach us, my friends. We're all ears. Oh, and one more thing. After this video, you will find affirmations that correspond to the teaching, as well as a full night's worth of subliminal messaging. Both of these are ways to cement the teaching within your subconscious mind and help make it easier for you to take the steps toward living your empowered life.